So for the first time, I've decided to dedicate my show to college students.
Many people think that, hazing is to just harass or harm, embarrass an individual or a group of people for no particular reason. However, this term could also correlate to what could be referred as like a rite of passage. For some organization, that could be a tradition.
For me, hazing goes past making someone do something they don't want to do. Whenever you join an organization, you're going to have to do some things that you don't originally want to do yourself. Say it's a military organization. You're going to have to do push-ups. You're going to have to get yelled at, run around.
And that's exactly why it's voluntary, because she obviously left the organization.
We had to put on 12 pairs of sweats each. This was me and 3 of my classmates. And, at the end of putting on all the sweats, we look ridiculous, and they make us do, push-ups and slide across the floor. It was really kind of fun until I started realizing I was overheated. And I went back into my room, and I started taking off these layers of sweats, and I was sweating profusely, and my vision was actually starting to blur.
They teach you the very beginning, this is something that you have to go through. They'll make it clear, this is not easy. It's not a walk in the park. You know exactly what you're getting into.
Who is in favor of hazing? Okay, there we go.
Not everybody could admit that.
So who's really against hazing?
See?
You have to realize that the true definition of hazing is being forced to do anything that you don't want to do. It's up to you as a person to be who. If you're going through this process, it's up to you as a person to realize when enough is enough, and it's enough for your brothers or your sisters. It's their responsibility, because a lot of people don't realize, as brother or sister of these same sororities, we hold power. We hold power of these people's lives that is going through this process, and we want them to go through this process. We're sending our brotherhood to them and our sisterhood to them, but in return, they're coming to us for a family.
Matthew Carrington had decided to go through a hazing ritual, but he was told it would be innocent. No drinking, no drugs, no beatings. The hazing ritual took place in a dark, freezing cold basement. They were told to strip down to their underwear, soak themselves with water, and stand on a bench while other members questioned them about their fraternity. Matt stood on that bench for hours, holding up heavy water jugs and drinking more and more water while fans blasted their wet, freezing bodies. Matthew collapsed. He was unable to be revived, and his fraternity brothers panicked. An hour went by before anyone called 911. Matthew was dying. Matthew's cause of death was water intoxication. He was made to drink 25 gallons of water. His blood was washed out, and his organs were bloated with fluid.
And they allowed this to happen because no one would take a stand and make that phone call because they were afraid.
I'm listening to the story and I'm just like, what a senseless
It
tragedy.
Really is.
What happened to the fraternity and the men that did this to your son?
The 7 of them ended up serving time. We were actually quite fortunate because in California there is a flawed hazing law, and with persistence we got the very first felony conviction in hazing in the United States. Don't do anything you feel uncomfortable about. Don't be afraid to say no. And most importantly, when you're in a group and you know something is wrong, don't be afraid to say stop.